morning, everybody. So happy to see you. Wally, you made it. So glad to see you. So let's start with meditation. Take your attention inside. And as you become aware of your breath, realize that you're surrounded by pranic plasma, this beautiful, divine, yellow-white light that is just full of benefit. It's pure, raw love. And it comes to us to support our spiritual endeavor. We're surrounded by it. Breathe it in like a sponge so that every cell becomes a sponge that's filled with pranic plasma. And everything around each cell is filled with pranic plasma as our bodies come into union with love. And on every out-breath, exhale any restriction throughout the fields of mind, body, emotion, and spirit. As you feel yourself embodying pure raw love, imagine a tiny being the size of a thumb in your heart center in the middle of your chest. This tiny being is sitting on a lotus. And it's you as your completely consciously realized self. In the state of ultimate awareness. As you visualize this being in the center of your chest, allow it to expand. Until you are completely filled to your toes, to the ends of your fingertips, to the top of your head, to the bottoms of your feet. You become completely filled with yourself as a completely, fully realized human being. Again, anything that arises that's not that, exhale it out of your system. Completely release it. As you expand into your full beingness. Once this energy has encompassed your entire body, allow it to continue to expand so that the room you're sitting in becomes completely inside of you as you expand to encompass it. So that anything that's happening in the room where you are becomes a part of you. And now you expand to encompass the whole building that you're sitting in. So that all of it is inside you. And now your entire neighborhood and now your city and now keep going until you have encompassed the entire earth. And as you expand, you may see some of the activities happening or not. And now expand to encompass the entire solar system. And now the universe. And the multiverse. You are completely one with the all that is. Feel into that vastness. As you're ready, gently allow yourself to begin to reel in your energy and your attention. Coming down to the universe and the solar system. And the earth. And as you come into the room, stop when you get to the room and look down at the person who began the meditation. And feel this vast love within yourself as you reach your hand down and touch the head of the person sitting in meditation. That's you. And you pour love into this being through the top of their head with your hand. As you pour love into love, in union with the highest self and the body. And then you gently slip back into your body. And when you're ready, bring your attention again outside, and we'll begin our conversation. Welcome, everybody. That was fun. How may we serve this morning? Yeah.
Last week you said, quote, "We must break apart before coming back together," end quote. Can you say more?
Well, this has to do with expanding into the awareness of a quantum reality rather than a three-dimensional matrix of belief. And it has everything to do with the meditation that we just did, which is what we mean when we talk about breaking apart. It's not breaking anything, it's expanding beyond our current perception of reality. So normally we live in this three-dimensional reality where there is our attention inside and our attention outside. And it's sort of a kind of internal rotation when we look inside and an external rotation when we look outside. And especially if we're engaged in a computer, we kind of put our energy all the way out there into the computer, and we're not even really connected to our own bodies anymore. You know, in a way, we're disembodied when we interact with our electronics. So this is a certain kind of breaking apart, but that's not really what we're talking about. What we're talking about is expanding our awareness so that we're not limited by our attachment to our beliefs that are based in three-dimensional reality. And because our language can't encompass anything beyond three-dimensional reality, it's hard for us to describe to you what this bigger quantum field feels like. So that's where meditation comes in. You expand into this quantum reality and you have sensory experience of the quantum reality that you can learn when you're sitting here with us and then reproduce and expand when you're sitting by yourself as you begin to come into more and more awareness of quantum reality as opposed to third dimensional reality, linear reality. Because our linear reality has everything anchored in time. And quantum reality has no time. And so quantum reality is the place where we really can engage ourselves in the eternal, because quantum reality is eternal. It's our highest self. So when we expand, we are feeling into our highest self. And there are layers of that, but it's important to get a flavor of that experience so we keep returning to it. And as we experience it more and more and focus more and more on that, especially in our meditation, and allow ourselves to get beyond the mundane that's going back and forth in our heads and out into this really experiential awareness of something greater than ourselves, that actually we encompass, we're part of it. We're not at any time separate from it, or we wouldn't be alive. And so as we expand our awareness into that, then we begin to experience ourselves as a multidimensional being, which is the truth of ourselves. It's just that we are limited by holding our perception so close and by identifying with our bodies. And so in a way, this is a very, very beautiful, this meditation is a beautiful demonstration of our entire being in union. Because at no time is there a separation from the body. Not at all. The body includes everything. It just expands. And then, what's the real body? Is it this physical thing, or is this incredible genie that we let out of the bottle? Is that what we really are? And so it's good to have this experience together, because when you have it alone for the first time, it's a little bit unsettling. But when we have it together, it's just this beautiful, beautiful expansion. And so one could describe it as breaking apart in a certain way, but really it's coming into union. So we don't remember the context in which we said that breaking apart, but often, there are emotional experiences that break us apart, that actually break us open. They feel like they're cataclysmic, that will never recover. But very often, if you look back in your life, it's the very strong negative experiences that we've had to face that have had the greatest benefit in terms of forcing us to look at our life deeper, forcing us to evaluate our matrix of belief and maybe see that it's flawed, that it's limited. We'll use limited rather than flawed. It's the best the people around us, when we were coming into this world, it's the best that the people around us had to offer to teach us to be safe and fulfilled in our lives. But now that we're older and wiser, we can examine that matrix of belief and see what limits us and what serves our spiritual expansion, our evolution. Because in order to save anything, ourselves and everybody around us and the world we live in, we have to create a different reality. Because for sure, the one we have created isn't working. It's unsustainable. And we can all see that. We all see that around us. And so the question to ask is, what is a sustainable reality and where does it come from? It's not going to come from outside of us for sure. The only place it can come from is inside us. And so it takes a quantum leap of realization to come to the working awareness that the only answer to every problem and every circumstance is more love, not less. And then what does that mean? What does that mean in practical reality? It means that if the people we say we love are not happy, we're not doing our job well. Now, there are lots of reasons that people are unhappy. And it's not exactly that we're responsible for other people's happiness, but we're certainly responsible for our own. And when we realize that that happiness is a choice, that living from joy, even though life is full of everything else, too, that choosing love, peace, joy, and gratitude is an answer. And it's actually a quite radical answer. Because most circumstances that we are witnessing in life today, especially in the greater environment, would not bring us to choose love, peace, joy, or gratitude. That is certainly not where our attention as a culture is landing. So to make that choice inside of ourselves is quite radical and really, really important. That's how we change the world, by changing ourselves. There is nothing else we have any control of but ourselves. And control doesn't exactly happen by contracting, if you've noticed. If you try to contract to control, then all you've done is contract. And you haven't really changed anything. But when you expand into these states of love, peace, joy, and gratitude, all of which are expansive, then there's something to share. Naturally, it just happens. You know, when you're happy, you might whistle. That's sharing. You might smile at the person in the grocery line. That's sharing. And these things, although they're very small in the scheme of things, they actually have a huge energetic impact on the people who experience them. Because most people are living in the dust and the dirt, the dregs of existence. And to have somebody smile at them for a split second and remind them that there is joy in this life can be, it can completely alter their mood and their perception of what life is, just for a split second. That split second is an entryway of something that wasn't there before. And so we value every time our own awareness comes into love, peace, joy, gratitude. And we doubly value any moment that we have when we can manage to share that. That is love in action. Simple, and yet profoundly difficult when you really put it into action. And when your environment gets rocked by anything, when you get rocked, the first thing to do is say, what is it in me that created this situation? Take responsibility. Because understand, the only thing we can change in any situation is ourselves. And so it starts there. And when we understand that, then we're always referencing everything to our internal state. And this is our human responsibility to evolve ourselves. We cannot expect that the external environment is going to evolve and rescue us. We are the love we have been waiting for. It's inside of us. All we need to do is cultivate it, cultivate our awareness of it. It's already there. You all experienced it right after you walked in the door to this meditation. So our task is to live from that. To actually not just run in the room in meditation and run out as soon as we finish, but to actually stay there and expand our awareness of our own selves in reality and bring that to our real life. Because that's what we are, is an energetic field of pure radiant light. And the more attention we put on that pure radiant light, the more we become it. And the more everyone who enters our field becomes aware of that pure radiant light, whether they know it or not. And we don't do it because we want other people to notice. We do it because it's the only way life makes any sense at all. We welcome your questions. So happy to be with you today. We hope that answered your question. We don't have to worry about breaking ourselves. Life does it. No matter how much we try to avoid it, life does it. How may we serve further? Yes, Wally. There you go.
Thank you. Um, the question I have is, what can we do in that moment when we're standing in the grocery line and we're a little uncomfortable and not feeling expansive? What would be the first thing to do?
Breathe. You'll notice that your breath has contracted. That discomfort that you're feeling is actually you contracting for whatever reason. And so you breathe into that contraction and you feel the expansion. And the real thing is to pull your attention down below your belly button. And as you do that now. Breathe down below your belly button and feel how your whole energetic system shifts. And do you feel that contraction differently? So for now, that's all you need to do is breathe and practice finding the comfort in the discomfort. You might even just stand in the environment for a while and breathe to see how you can find expansion in the midst of contraction. And you see, it need not have anything to do with anybody else. It's just accepting, oh, I'm contracted in this moment. Let's see if I can breathe into expansion. I mean, of course, first you look around and make sure that there's no imminent danger. Always, it's good to make sure you're safe. But just to stand in that experience, completely accepting, not judging. There's nothing to judge. It's just, it's a, we get into habits of contraction. And then we say, oh, I'm just this way in this situation. When really every experience is an opportunity, every contracted experience is an opportunity to play with expansion. And think of it as play, not as work. It's just like, what's possible in this moment? What can happen here? Is something different possible? And you just breathe. And you see where that takes you. And it'll be quite interesting to you because your experience will change radically if you allow it. And this is why we use the word allowing rather than surrender. Because if you think about surrendering in that experience where you're already contracted, I mean, that just invites a bigger contraction, right? Because you're trying to do this to this. But if you think of allowing, you just allow yourself to feel what you're feeling and you breathe into it. There's a natural opening that happens. And you don't have to close your eyes. No need. You just breathe and feel. And somebody might walk into your field of vision and you might find yourself smiling at them. This might happen. And your whole experience and theirs will change. Does that feel like a practice you can do?
Safety, feeling safe is the word that is what floats up for me.
Yes. Yeah. So you say, I feel fear. You just acknowledge it. I don't feel safe. So you don't close your eyes, you just breathe. You just breathe and you look around. Is there any reason I should feel unsafe? Well, yeah, I'm in an unfamiliar place and I don't know anybody. But you have chosen that to challenge yourself. You have. And so you go into that situation, you keep your eyes open, you make sure you're safe, and you breathe and challenge yourself to expand. And the grocery store is a perfect place for it because it is safe. Nobody's there to do anything but get groceries. And so and you can go there every day and, there's nothing wrong with that. It's a perfect practice place. Yeah. And you can identify practice places, once you have met the challenge of the grocery store, the more people that are somewhere that you feel it's a challenge, then you go challenge yourself with a different, a crowded beach and see how that is, just breathing and being. And so that this becomes a way that you meet the contraction. You first totally accept it. This is a place where I contract. How interesting. I was taught to do this. There's nothing wrong. Nothing wrong. You don't want to do that anymore. And so you choose something different. And it's just breathing. And you find a flow, like we had this morning, where you expand and you encompass, you expand and you encompass, and you do it with your presence. Can you imagine that? Because imagining it is all the work. Once you can visualize yourself doing it, then you just go do it. Yes, and it will take courage. Courage is required. You have it in spades. You do. You do. You're demonstrating it with your life choices. You have chosen the path of courage. Mm-hmm. You did it. You're there. What else?
It seems like I've chosen a contracted experience by being in this very small accommodation, and there's heavy rain outside that's likely to go on for a while, like maybe all week. And it feels like I can't go outside because I'll get wet and then I'll come back wet and then everything will mildew. And there are all these stories about how I'm stuck in this little box.
Time to buy a rain suit. Just hang it by the door. There's room in your little box for a rain suit. This happens where you are every once in a while, and it's good to be prepared. When you're in a circumstance that feels paralyzing, that's when you pay attention to the physical. So you get a rain suit, so you have a choice. And you can go outside and remain dry. And you can have a little spot next to the door where you put a hook and you hang it all up, and it dries. And that way it doesn't make your whole house mildew. Just that one little spot is wet. And you can even dry it off with a towel, after you get back and change your clothes. And all will be well, but you won't be trapped or contracted. So when that happens, what feels like emotional paralysis, look for an answer in the physical. Look for a physical solution. A rain suit. Now you're not trapped anymore. Go to the store, try on at least 3 so that you find one that really is right for you. Those kind of, they're very sophisticated ones now. Places like REI. Is there more to that question?
No, it really is that simple. There is also, even when it wasn't raining, there was this sense that there was nowhere to go, no place to just be. That was safe. I feel self-conscious because I'm describing my standard. My
Yes.
standard station. Yeah.
Yes. So whenever you feel that, breathe. Do the meditation we did at the very beginning. Because you didn't feel that when you were meditating, did you?
Not at all.
Not at all. So you know where that experience is. So whenever you're feeling contracted, go to that experience. Because it's there, it's inside you. That's what it feels like to breathe. So first challenge yourself in your own environment to breathe when the contraction comes. Is there a tree in your yard that you can sit under?
No.
Well, you can choose how you begin to challenge yourself with expanding outward. In the rain. It might even just be sitting in a parking lot.
There's a carport outside my door where I can sit.
Mm-hmm. And then at a certain point, drive to a parking lot and expand yourself before you go into the grocery store. Then you go into the grocery store, and when you feel the contraction come, you breathe. So that you get in the habit of every new environment you greet with your breath. Because you understand that you are very consciously engaging a pattern that has followed you everywhere you've gone your whole life. And so your work starts before you go out the door. And then at every step of encounter with new, And we're going to tell you that as you do this a few times and you feel success, it will be exhilarating. This is like climbing a mountain, one breath at a time. And whenever you run into restrictions, breathe in the pranic plasma that's surrounding you and breathe out the restriction, no matter where you are or what you're doing. Take that practice and allow your breath to expand. Yes, there you go. And you see what that does? One breath like that. And it might take you, 5 or 6 tries to get a breath like that. You just allow yourself to breathe in the pranic plasma and breathe out the restriction. There it is. That's mastery. Breathe out the restriction. Breathe in pure raw love. Breathe out the restriction. Breathe in pure raw love. Take it down below your belly button. Don't let it get stuck between your ears. There it goes. Yeah. Breathe in. Exhale the restriction. Take your attention lower. Breathe out the restriction. Allow yourself to expand to encompass the room. Open your eyes and do it. Feels like being 2 places at once, doesn't it? Yes. Keep doing it. Acknowledge the contraction. Allow it. Now breathe into it, pure raw love, and exhale the contraction. Just exhale it. What are you experiencing?
Well, the first thing is that my tension wants to pop up into my head like a cork in water. And the second thing is I'm a little confused because I'm wanting to use the out breath for the expansion, but I'm also using it to release the contraction,
Use
yeah.
the in breath for the expansion and the out breath for the release of what's no longer needed. So your exhale is your tension release. Your inhale is your expansion. Because you're expanding to encompass everything. This is a really important question. Inhale the expansion. Exhale whatever's keeping you contracted. So you're taking in love and you're releasing all the poison out of your system. This is the opposite of Tonglen practice. Because Tonglen practice assumes that you're pure love. And so until you're pure love, and how many people have we met who sustain that experience? So, we can take that off the table for now. Because really, until we become pure love, we don't exactly have it to give. And this isn't said to reduce you or any of us. It's just the truth. Until we're it, we're not it. And so accepting who we are, what we are in this moment is very, very important to grow. We can't evolve if we're, and we know you didn't ask the question, so this isn't related directly to you, but it's an important issue is that until we are pure love, we can't pretend to be that. And so this practice of taking in love and releasing anything that's not is really, 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 really important. And allowing ourselves to expand into this love, just because it's everywhere. It has no limitation. It's we who have the limitations. It's our perception that's limited. And so now from where you are now, just breathe and expand. You're in the expansion. And somehow the trying it engages a bunch of patterns that don't serve you. And so whenever you start to feel that, do something else. Hmm. We'll just tell you our observation. So we don't know exactly how to say this. So we can't until we can.
I have a little grasp of the distinction between intending and efforting.
Yes, this is right where we're trying to go. And stop efforting. It's not about effort. Not about effort. It's about attention. But understand that we're going to give you a different idea. When you meditate, allow the breath to breathe you. And see what that feels like. Just do that right now. Only breathe when the breath breathes you. So you don't try to do anything. You just allow yourself to breathe when the breath wants to happen. And stay present, yes. And don't try to make it do anything. Just allow yourself to breathe when it's time to breathe.
It really wants to stop completely.
Yeah. So let it stop completely. That's okay. And relax your body. Just relax. Relax your jaw. Let it just be loose. Relax any part of your body that's trying to contract. And just allow the breath to happen when it happens. And everything that's not involved in breathing, let it relax. So you're exhaling any contraction from your body. And we'd like everybody on this call to do this also. Just focus on your breathing, and anything that's not involved in breathing, just let it relax. And let the breath breathe you. So now focus in the back of your head, Wally, and let that relax as you breathe. The top of your neck where it meets your head, feel that relax as you breathe. And just exhale any restriction. Bring your attention back outside so you're not, relax your jaw. Feel your toes. Oh, feel the relaxation happen as you feel for your toes. Something different happens when you occupy your body. So it's not about leaving your body. It's about really coming in. Okay. There is a part of us that this meditation really addresses. We're not speaking to you in particular, Wally, now we're talking to everybody, because this is a universal thing that happens, is that we get confused between the experience of meditation and the experience of dissociation. And this is why this particular meditation is so valuable, because it's about completely occupying our beingness, starting with our physical body and never leaving it. We never leave our physical body. We just expand our beingness. And so dissociation is when our physical body is one thing and our perception of spirituality is something different. And so we kind of leave our bodies and that becomes our meditation. And there are phases where that just happens. But the beauty of this meditation is that it's not about that. It's about completely being in ourselves in complete relaxation before we expand beyond our body. So it's really about allowing ourselves to relax deeply, and all these deep patterns of contraction can fall out as we breathe in love and we exhale restriction. And then we expand our beingness to encompass a little bit bigger than our body. We can start with just 6 inches so that we are completely that. And then we expand a little bit more. And you know, we can go all the way out. We did that already today. And we can come all the way back. We're very elastic in our beingness, but it starts from a state of total relaxation. And we never leave our bodies. Wally, does any of this make sense to you?
Yes, thank you.
How are you doing?
It's challenging, so that feels like effort.
This is really, really good. This is really good. Do you get that?
I do.
Yeah. We'll keep after it. Do you feel like you have something you can work with?
Absolutely.
Good. Good.
Thank you.
You're so welcome. How may we serve further? Yeah.
I am having trouble not judging some people and allowing our differences.
Yeah, that's we're with you on that. Here's how we deal with that. Because any judgment means, of course, we're judging ourselves with that same judgment. And so when we see that, then it's important to stand back and say, well, what happens when I judge? And watch what happens to me, Rebecca, when I judge myself. Is it creates a contraction. And it's more subtle, but when we judge other people, we're creating the same contraction in ourselves. Because what we're really judging is something in ourselves that we find fault with. Otherwise, we wouldn't identify it in another. We see the world the way we are. And so judgment is ultimately about our opinion of ourselves. And so again, the solution is to breathe in love and exhale contraction. Judgment is contraction. Judgment is the part of us that says, I know better. And we replace it with love, first of all for ourselves and then for everybody around us. Thank you so much for that question. That's something we all run into every single day. It's not a once-off experience. It's something that informs us constantly. How may we serve further?
When you say moving into love, is that the same as moving into compassion and being the witness?
Absolutely.
How do we stay present to that in those moments? Those moments seem pregnant with whatever fear and or judgment. I find it hard to get into that. And I know I want to be there. Sometimes it's better than not.
Well, one of the things that you can do is go straight to the physical. Make sure that your breath is getting past your belly button, that your attention is actually below your belly button as you breathe, and that your body is relaxed. Because when you're in that centered place, that's where you can be the most effective witness. Because from that place, you're not trying to get anything, you're not trying to give anything, you're not trying to do anything, you're just being and seeing. So you take your attention out of your head and you pull it down just below your belly button and you hold it there. And you allow whatever experience is happening outside of you to inform you. That is witness. Does that make sense?
I think it'll be the prep work of getting myself in that place, so it becomes more routine than it is at the moment.
Well, you get yourself in that place and then you watch your breath as you're in the situation. Now, granted, we know a lot of other things are happening at the same time that you must pay attention to in a mental way. But you can still hold your attention here and write and be present. You can do all of that at once. Consider the alternative. Okay, so we think we've come to meditation time. Let's come back a little bit because we didn't repeat the question and that was valuable information. When you're facing a situation that causes you to contract, how do you get yourself into the witness state? So you know you're facing a situation that's likely going to make you contract. And of course, you've attracted that situation by the quality of your work. So you understand that it's actually a gift and a challenge to expand your ability to expand in the face of contraction. So before you face the experience, you breathe and you make sure your attention is below your belly button. And you hold it there because the witness state begins below your belly button. You can't exactly witness when your attention's between your ears. You're much more likely to react. So if you can get your attention down below your belly button and breathe into that and hold your center there, you know, you're in a completely balanced place like an athlete, ready to move in any direction that's required. You're present. It's like you're a tennis player and you're ready to return the serve. This is how you make yourself grounded and centered. It's actually the center below your belly button. And when you're expanded, your physical body is relaxed, your attention is below your belly button, and then you greet whatever comes from that place. And then you watch, like a cork, your attention is going to want to scoot up to your head. You pull it down, then you're ready to receive. It may jump up again, you pull it down. This is practice. This is what we mean by practice. Good. This has been so wonderful to have your questions today. They're so valuable. We all have the same issues. This is not, it's not rocket science, but you need tools. So we're giving tools. And where you put your attention makes a huge difference in what comes back. So let's do some more breathing and expanding. So we'll meditate from now until the end. We've so appreciated being with you. Thank you so much. So take your attention inside. And we'll let you go at your own pace. Breathe into your body, relax and expand. Breathing in pranic plasma, golden white light, and exhaling any obstruction. And we'll begin our transmission phase and be in silence from now on. Thank you so much for being here. We bow to you in gratitude. Till next week.